Oh my god, guys, check this out. You know what this is? Monopoly. Yeah, I know you don't give a shit. How do you get people interested in something as mundane as basic-ass regular Monopoly in the Big 25? I'll tell you how. You take one of these, people fucking go apeshit. Giant board games is what we're talking about today. Unlike tiny board games, which kind of exist just entirely out of novelty, giant board games, I find, tend to actually take the board game in itself from just being something you do kind of in the home, among friends or family, and making it an actual activity. It adds a context of intrigue to it that makes the game interesting to people, even when it's just the same game, but larger. You'll find giant board games in a lot of places that aren't even necessarily connected to board games. Well, there used to be giant chess pieces in this courtyard, but I guess they're missing. But check out what else I noticed while I was out and about. Check that out. Code enforcement. Inspection is 8 months out of date? Huh. Sorry? Oh, I was just wondering, don't the parking enforcement cars, don't they require inspection?
Yeah,
You got a car coming around here, just pulled in. The inspection's 8 months out of date.
It's a city car?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure which one it was, but I will notify the city manager and get it taken care of.
Alright.
Have a good one.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Not only with our buddy 305, we got, back at the car lot here, we got another one. Expired inspection. And another one. Expired inspection. This one looks fine. And another one. Expired inspection. Damn. Now for context, I got by Officer Pickass for driving around with December of 2024 stickers 3 weeks after they went out of date. You know, still out of date, but like, what the hell? It only applies to some people, I guess. Anyways, the cafeteria at my college, yeah, we had a cafeteria, don't fucking judge me, had a giant Connect 4 game. Now, that actually wasn't to, like, maintain the interest of anyone there in particular. It was because they had accidentally hired a fat cow instead of a human being to be, like, the board of the telecom department. And so they had to accommodate her by getting, like, a giant version of Connect 4 to entertain herself so she could fit those, like, you know, those big checkers around her hooves. She'd never be able to grab the tiny ones. But this is no place to talk about giant board games in my tiny microscopic set. So let's go to another room. Yeah, I was so frustrated I ripped all my hair out. I couldn't use my regular set, so we're here at a daycare today. So our first thing is Giant Uno. This is, of course, a comparison to giantification, I guess, of Uno here. Someone wrote all over the inside of my thing there. I don't know who that is. I don't know who you are. But this is my shit, motherfucker. I don't know who's trying to lift my fucking Uno cards. But yeah, Uno's a pretty standard thing. You just take the cards and you just draw them. You're trying to get the colors to match and all that, and then you fight over the rules a bunch. Everyone's seen it before. The thing about Uno, though, that I've always associated with it is that it's a very accessible, very portable game, because obviously it's a card game, right? So like I said before, when you make a giant version of board games, you're making it more of an event. You're bringing more attention to it. You're making it more prominent, right? But when one of the draws to a game like Uno is that it's so portable and versatile, why the hell are we making it bigger and harder to bring around? Giant Uno cards don't make the game better. They make the game bigger. But let's take a look at these cards here. Oh, that is kind of neat. So if you buy a pack of Uno cards now, it will come with a paper wrapping all along them, and they've kept this for the giant version, so it has giant wrapping all over it. So yeah, obviously the cards are, you know, they're just Uno cards, but larger. Quite a bit larger. It looks like about 9 times larger, with the exception of these colorblind friendly designs that are at the top and bottom, where you got, you know, the 4 natural shapes you'd associate with these colors. That is a triangle, square, circle, and a diamond, I guess. That's why I'm in a daycare here. I guess I'll gotta learn my shapes. Although I gotta say, this shade of green that they've chosen, I don't know what it is about it, but this just looks fucking horrible compared to the original. It's definitely a different color, and it looks fucking putrid. Kinda wish I didn't throw these around, because I'm looking for a specific card to compare this to. Why did I put this down? Oh my fucking god. So, another fun fact is, you know everyone's favorite card, the customizable wild card where, you know, the personality types of the people that like to play Uno, they're also super funny and super creative. Uno has enabled them to create their own wacky, funny, wild rules. The Giant version also includes these cards because the Giant version is where this premiered here. So you can blame this for wreaking this upon the world here. The oh so funny custom rules card, if you even use it. Now what's quite funny is that you might have noticed I have 2 of these because I bought one from Walmart, and then while I was at the thrift store, I happened to notice that they had one of these completely unopened too, just right here. And I've intended to just film this video, then return them to Walmart. Then I was lazy and didn't film this video for several months after. To give you a clue of how far after, I used my tax return dollars to buy this little Uno thing, so it's been a bit here. If anyone watching wants this here for some reason, you know, because you've heard my praises about it, it's going to be behind the Arby's in Auburn Plaza, so that's where you're gonna find this. But that's getting technical there, right? Using Giant Uno as your opening example. That's not really a board game, that's a card game. Let's get into bona fide, no argument board games. Here we have Monopoly Giant Edition. See, what's interesting is I often associate those giant board games as being like bespoke products that people get custom ordered and made for them or something, like for the park or for their wherever it is or something. But this is just one you can grab off the shelf and buy for $30. And their big selling piece is the giant tokens that come with it. That's everyone's favorite part of Monopoly. And they're there. With us, we have the hat, the car, the shoe, and the dog. And I will say, these are quite high quality, actually. These I might just keep these and keep them as display pieces. We also have some, I guess, large chance cards. Like, they are larger than the normal ones by like a factor of 2, maybe 2.5, maybe. It's not really big though. Now, when I introduced this and I said that this was $30, you might have said, "Oh, that's actually like a very good deal for a large version of Monopoly." But what you're about to see in a minute here is how they managed to package the Giant Edition with such a small price. Because what's quite ironic is, even though it is a larger version, like it is physically larger, the amount of spaces is smaller. Look carefully, they're missing quite a few spaces. You might have hoped that it'd come with recreations of the houses and hotels, but unfortunately, you're just getting cards, color-coded cards to indicate who the property belongs to, in the most distinct colors they could have chosen. Purple, pink, orange. Am I crazy for saying that's kind of odd? Now, what's kind of interesting is, in their effort to cut costs or anything, they've eschewed the money as well. The way you keep track of money in this game, everyone gets one of these. Let me assemble it for you. Instead of players holding money, they now have a little card with a dial on it that keeps track of their money, kind of like in an account, I guess you could say, which also means all the prices are, you know, $1 instead of $100 or however much it is on that. This also means the maximum amount of money you can have is 14, and you just roll back over to 0. I think this would be an ideal form of society if everyone could only have maximum of $14. These house cards also double as property cards to indicate ownership, so they don't indicate the rent you owe or the mortgaging or anything. None of that exists in this game. It's just simplified more. And There's no railroads either. A railroad is just a reroll, as indicated by the little pictogram, because God forbid you read something, of course. And you're re-rolling this. Check out this die. It comes with 1 die, not 2, meaning that there's no doubles in this game. But it's not what I guess you would call a conventional die that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It has the average of 2 dice on it, so it goes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, which each opposite side adding up to 11 instead of 7. I'll admit, it's kind of a creative way to get the game somewhat normalized, so that way, instead of using 2 dice, you're getting the most frequently produced numbers from those 2 dice. However, like I said, it removes doubles, number 1. Something that's kind of cool is each side here, instead of being 10, is only 8, which incidentally is the highest number you can roll. So you can instantly go 8 across. But like I said, you gotta say, it's quite ironic that the Giant edition of the game has cut so much content. The railroads, 2 fucking dice, doubling, property deeds, property cards, a bank, fucking money. So much of it has been cut to make it cost affordable. That's like, you know, I think they should have bumped this up to $50, really, because it's so compromised that, I don't know, I don't think I'd enjoy this very much. I realize I should probably clarify what I mean by increasing the cost to $50. What I'm saying is, Spin Master, I believe, is the producer of these. By putting the selling cost at $30, they are limiting it to where this cannot cost them anywhere near $30 to make. They have to make a profit on it, right? So what I'm saying is, if they had a $50 margin where they could put a bit more elements, a bit more pieces in this, and have this a bit higher quality, they would have way more versatility due to a little thing we call scale of economics. You'll get a Monopoly experience, but it's not anything like the original game. It's smaller. And to them, that's a selling point. Plays in 30 minutes, because God forbid you accuse Monopoly of being long. Oh, and guess what else happened when I was getting this? So if you want this copy here, I'm going to put it... where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it behind the H&R Block in the Auburn Plaza. So if you're fast, you might get 2 games today. I will say once again, though, these plastic props are pretty cool. It's a shame they don't have the battleship, which is the cool one. But, you know, I'm definitely going to keep these and put these on a shelf or something. Had to turn up the AC here. It's getting a little hot here in the daycare. Next thing we're going to talk about is Sorry Giant Edition. Look at that. They got the pawn on the box right there. And it seems someone who remained nameless was chewing on this. So hopefully the contents are okay. Well, isn't that awesome? The pawns are not assembled. Again, another way that they've had to cheap out to make the big version cheap. You have to assemble the pawns yourself. It seems like they haven't been molded to very strict tolerances. Oh, and check this out. Instead of 4 pawns of each color, it comes with 3. Cutting content in the game to make it larger. Once again. What this also means, by the way, because you have to assemble them yourself, they will not go back in that box. That's just not going to happen. There isn't enough space for it. It was designed around having them deconstructed. You know, look, I'm not going to assemble these on camera, just because I have a certain amount of battery on this thing. So here's quite a major shakeup to the Sorry board, is that it has recessed corners on it, like in Parcheesi or Switzerland, I guess. They just changed the layout, and my first thought was this has to be a way to like save space on material or something, right? But like, I don't know. I'm not a math guy. I failed math 3 times in high school. But isn't this the same as that? Although they have taken advantage of the new board game layout by making it so that way when you hit the corners, it looks like you can skip this whole area right here and just go straight to there. That's kind of neat that they've actually taken advantage of that. But another change they've made that is really shitty. Instead of the classic Sorry cards, you get the Sorry Spinner. Now, why is this a problem, really? I mean, what difference does it make? Well, the difference is if you draw a Sorry card in a deck, then you're fucked, right? However, there's only a specific number of Sorry cards in the deck. That's only going to happen to you so many times before you have to reshuffle, right? With this, it literally could happen infinitely. It massively could disrupt the flow of the game. Something else that's kind of weird is they changed the move backward 4 space to move forward 4. I don't know why. They've maintained the moving positions of like the other spaces, but move backwards 4 just got the axe, I guess. And this is kind of a lesser point, because like really, who gives a shit? But with a spinner, you can practice what you're gonna land on. That would have been really cool if I had landed it there, but you see what I mean, right? It disrupts the flow of the gameplay by making it possible to, like, literally play it forever. It is possible to do that. Maybe that's another reason why they've only included 3 pawns of each color, but, like, come on, man, really? Cheap. I will say the gameplay, despite that, is less compromised than it was in Giant Monopoly, because that was, like, fucking mangled. But, I don't know. It's kind of cool, I guess. This could probably go up in, like, a museum or something. Why did I say museum? Something like, I don't know. You could probably put this in, like, social services, like the waiting room to distract the kids while their parents go to jail. And they'd probably not have too much of a complaint. And of course, all of these, you have to figure out how to fold it up. Probably won't be a problem if you're not an idiot, but that's not something I've been born with the luxury of having. Wow. Perfect. Looks great. And this is the final one that I could get my hands on. This is the Game of Life. And unquestionably, this is the largest game of the bunch. I don't mean largest physically, but largest in terms of like the amount of equipment that comes with a set of Game of Life. It has the most pieces in it, so really gonna be interested here. Again, same price tag, $30. Let's see how it goes. I think I actually bought this off of eBay because I couldn't find it, so it was like $13 or something. Oh no! It seems someone got into the plastic. Uh-oh. Well, this isn't gonna look great, but that's already something that kind of can't be helped here. This is a fraction of the size of the last few games. And also, what the fuck is this? What? Whoa. What happened to this? Remember this? When it was like a game? Now, I promise you guys, I wasn't going into these looking for a reason to complain. I know a lot of these videos seem quite negative, but unfortunately, we're talking about modern things here, and this is just another encapsulation of things being made now that are cheap. I will say that right off the top of the bat, I am impressed that they actually recreated the spinner. They kind of had to, because it's one of the most significant identifiers of the Game of Life. It's like literally the centerpiece of the board. And I will say, it spins quite nicely. It seems like it's too heavy for the base, so it tends to spin a little bit. But hey, it works. That's good. So what are they expecting us to do here? Let's take a look. Well, all they've got in the box there is the board, the wheel, and cards. No game pieces whatsoever. No cars or even pawns or anything. You got cards. I don't know how you're supposed to keep track of who's who, but let's see what we're trying to do. We got action cards, adventure cards, dream home cards, family cards, vacation cards, career cards, and the pet cards, naturally. The most important thing. Man, I love pets. They're so awesome. Okay, so what I assume the other cards are here for is when a player takes another card, you can replenish that card and put it back. Let's read the single piece of paper of rules. Alright, we're gonna shuffle the adventure cards and give an adventure card to each player. And my adventure card is Become an Elusive Secret Agent. Now, there's no rules, it doesn't tell me anything about what this means, but I'm a secret agent, I guess. Oh, it's secret. I should probably hide that. So if I draw the event card from these that has the same symbol, then I get bonus points. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to collect a complete set of life cards. These are life cards that have the highest point value. So that way you have the highest point value by the end of the game. This is so little like life that it might as well just be its own game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find out what my life is and see how many points I can get. Let's go. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is why you don't need tokens, because you're just picking cards. I lived in an eco house, so I get 200 points for that, and another 100 because it matches my occupation. Awesome, I feel really accomplished. Now on my second turn, I have the option to put a card back and try and trade it with another. So if I didn't want this for some reason, because I hate this game, so I don't want to win it, I can put it back, spin again, and try and get this card. The game ends when someone gets 350 points. Let's spin for pet. 6. I adopted a naughty cat. Damn right I did. Oh, check this out. 300 plus 100 points. That's 400 points. Oh my god, I won the game. Incredible. This is for real? Seriously? There's also action cards that you are supposed to do between each of between each of the rounds, I guess. Some of these action cards include Tiptoes and BDSM. Everyone takes a turn on the spinner. The person with the highest number wins. They gave up real quick on that. Go cross-eyed. Jesus Christ, this is fucking fetishy. What the hell? And by the way, that can cause, like, some serious, migraines if you do that. Alright, I'm gonna do the jump one. Stand with your heels against the game mat. Jump as far away as you can from it. The person who jumps farthest wins. So let's bring the game mat here. Stupid game. Not even game of life. 0 out of 10. Wow, the audio in the daycare sucks, doesn't it? We took a look at consumer options for giant versions of board games, but now we're going to take a look at more bespoke, customized versions that are meant to be more of a special thing specifically to where we're at. We're going to head to the Strong Museum of Play and take a look at their board game park and see some of their big versions of board games. Now, I didn't actually have a lot of time to record this footage, so I had to quickly skip past all the other cool things the Strong Museum of Play has to offer. I will admit, it was kind of cool seeing board games preserved in a museum that I own myself. Real talk, I could definitely do an episode just about the board game exhibits that they have here at the Strong Museum of Play, but then you wouldn't get your lazy ass up and go see it for yourself. Sorry. However, I just couldn't resist showing off a lot of their other bigified versions of things. They had a big version of Pong, which I am horrible at, Donkey Kong, NES games. Do cinema. We're doing cinema right now. Oh. Yay! Woo! You did it.
Finally beat Super Mario Bros.
A Light Bright, Mr. Potato Head, a Magic 8 Ball. Quick, come up with a question. and a big Rube Goldberg device that I didn't actually care to show you guys, but then this happened. Yeah, I wasn't about to be made into a jackass and not make content out of it. By the way, I was, like, no doubt within view of these people. On to our first semi-game adjacent thing, Perplexus. Perplexus is a plastic game where you're trying to maneuver a ball through a labyrinth in a plastic sphere, trying to cross 100 obstacles. And honestly, it's probably one of my favorite toys of all time. It's something that's captivated my interest since I got it when I was 8 years old. It is just so replayable and fun to fidget with that, you know, after all this time, I'm still not bored with it. Now be honest with me, guys. Anyone else remember doing this trick? Scaling it up, however, gives quite an interesting effect. As I mentioned in the Tiny Board Games episode, when you scale something down, the amount of your movements affected gets scaled up proportionately. So conversely, when you scale something up, especially something physics-based like Perplexus, the amount that you're affecting it decreases. Therefore, you have more control over it. Your movements are more deliberate. This was quite fun, and I nearly beat it on my very first try. And here we have Battleship. Mostly the same, although just a little smaller. However, I think that's because this is a museum and they want people to get a fucking move on. And it's Battleship. It is just as playable as the original. However, I think with this form factor specifically, you are losing some of the immersion, right? As I mentioned before, with a lot of board games, a lot of it is kind of up to your imagination and getting into the role of the character you're playing, right? In Battleship, you and your opponent are both warlords. You're wreaking war on each other from your little control panels. Reading data off of your game board actually feels like you're reading it off of some kind of computer. However, physically picking up these thick, giant plastic pieces kind of makes you way more aware that you're playing a board game, and you can't really get into the vibe of it at all, if you get what I mean. You're way more conscious of its artifice. So yeah, maybe you don't have a giant battleship installed in your house, I guess. Oh, now check this out. It's an LED wall-mounted version of Chutes and Ladders. Something I quite like is that even though it's digital, it's relying on you to manually input your piece's movement. It doesn't just roll for you and you move your piece. You still have to roll the dice, or spin in this case, and you still have to move your piece with the arrow keys on the control panel. It's a smart decision to not make this boring, because you're still actually moving the pieces as if you're playing the board game. It's not just running on its own. And it also helps that it's way shorter than the original. It's gonna land on a 1.
Wait.
Well, you know what? It's actually, it's better not to get it now than to get it, I guess, to get it later. All right. It's part of the strategy of the game. It's part of the meta. And now here we are at the Hasbro Game Park. Now, I'm gonna level with you guys. I was here before and got some footage of some of the things I wanted to show, but I decided I didn't have enough. So naturally, I came back by myself at a different point to film what I need, only to discover that the board games I wanted to film were rotated out with fucking Monopoly Cornhole. Damn it. Anyways, they did have Connect 4 last time. I promise you, I did see it. It's right here. Now, this is the officially licensed version. I guess it'd be kind of odd if it wasn't, compared to the version that I usually see out and about, which has rings instead of checkers. So it has the accurate colors, and even the materials feel exactly like they do in the original game. I mean, there's nothing I can really say about it. It's quite an effective translation. Connect 4 is such a solid choice because of how simple the game is. It's very easy to translate big or small. I'd go as far as to say it's definitely the choice to make if you want to get a big version of a board game for your backyard or something. It's a pure strategy game, there's not that many pieces, it's not that complex. But I guess you could also get a normal game like, I don't know, Bocce. Now if you thought the big car I showed off was cool, this has gotta be orgasm worthy. Hell yeah, the car-sized car. They also have a big version of Jenga, even including the proper brand integration, and like I said with Perplexus, when you have a physics-based game, making it larger really helps increase the strategy of the game. A normal-sized Jenga game has some slight risk of just anatomical, uncontrollable tremors you might have when you're trying to move very delicately. However, that chance factor disappears greatly when you scale the game up. Some people might see that as a drawback and say that that's part of the game itself, is really trying to get a hold of your body and move these pieces as delicately as possible. And I agree to a certain extent, but if you're looking at the game from the perspective of the pure strategy of picking the best pieces and putting them on top, this might be the version for you. It's another pretty solid translation that, you know, I guess you could put in your backyard as well, in your little board game backyard, I don't know. The only problem is, like normal Jenga, it's a pain in the ass to clean up. And check it out, Simon, which I've discussed before is not a board game, but often gets put into the same packet as board games. Probably just because it's owned by Hasbro, I guess. Now, I did see this giant version of Simon at Target. It looked like one of those cheap DDR cat piss mats you would get for the Wii. I did not pick it up, though, because, you know, fuck Target. This version of Simon they had gets you way more active, however, if you're alone. You're running between 4 podiums trying to remember the pattern in time before what sounds like a time bomb explodes or something. It felt kind of like an escape room puzzle, actually. Pretty cool. And then scattered throughout the park were a few more board game themed props, like this Game of Life merry-go-round, these large Trivial Pursuit cards, and these candy canes that I guess somehow count as being from Candyland. And there are a few more cool things, but I'd hate to ruin the fun. You really should consider checking it out if you're in the Rochester area. Heading back inside will take you to the Hasbro Cafe, which has some overpriced bakery goods, coffee, but their unique angle is also having board games. Some of you might know this as a regular cafe. And I didn't plan to include this either until I noticed that they had a copy of Giant Uno, which was way larger than the modern copy that I picked up. Check out these dimensions. Yeah, it seems like even the king-sized games aren't safe from shrinkflation. And that's gonna do it for us here at the museum. Back to the main set for my final thoughts. I don't know why I took you back here. I could have probably just finished the video and the narration, but checking out these large versions of board games made me realize something, you know, not just about board games, but just about entertainment in general. I've pointed out before how a game like Battleship would just be nothing if it weren't for the theme around it. I've pointed out how a game like Clue would really be nothing without the theme of it. The gameplay might be the same between Battleship and a debranded Battleship, but they would feel completely different. And it made me realize that one of the most important things about board games and entertainment is just interest. Capturing interest. I could have done this board game show, in front of a white wall, not have these little side graphics here, but I chose to do it in front of my board game wall here and put these side graphics here so that way there's something for you to look at. If I took away the graphics on the side, which are constantly moving, all of a sudden the shot looks way less interesting. Sometimes I wonder, how I can get more people to start watching these, what I'm doing wrong, and then I hear myself say fucking all of a sudden, yeah, not a take two on that, right, buddy? And realize that I might just not be very good at this at all, man. All of a sudden. I'm keeping that in. You guys have to make fun of me for that. That's fucking ridiculous. How did I not catch that? Now, the content is empirically the same, but it doesn't capture your attention as effectively. Basically, what I'm saying is entertainment, you could have good entertainment or bad entertainment, but what it needs is a hook. Something superficially interesting or appealing, even if it's just constant motion on the screen, to keep an audience member's attention. It's the same thing with the giant version of, Connect 4. Connect 4 is a very pedestrian game, but all of a sudden becomes a lot more interesting when you have a large version to present. There's novelty to that. So if you're working on something, creatively or in advertising or something, just remember that it really doesn't take a lot to add a little bit of uniqueness to your product to get it initially interesting, to get over the deficit that you have of someone providing their time to check out whatever they're going to. You're always going to be at a deficit when someone is checking out what you've got for them, and it's up to you to get them interested, to get them hooked. And that's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for breaking schedule, but, big board game, big wait, that's how it is. That's why I did that. Thank you so much. Take care.
Spiteful Productions.